Well, hi you folks, and welcome back to Isle of Wight Bushcraft. This time out we'll be looking at summertime bush tucker, so stay tuned. Now we know sometimes that if we live near the coast we will have access to shellfish and other forageables as well. But if we're a little bit inland and we're not near the coast, it's good to know of other forageables. And of course in the UK this time of the year, with the warmer months, there is one forageable protein, because we need to forage for protein as well as green leaves and so forth. A form of protein that we can forage this time of the year, of course, are these little critters. Now we know that this time of year there are grasshoppers and crickets are plentiful, and they are good protein. In this country we may be a little bit, we may have sensitivities toward eating insects. But insects are actually very good for you. They actually, it's said that insects have 6 times the amount of protein per gram as does red meat. So they're very, very nutritious, full of protein. Now, it has been said that you can eat insects, raw grasshoppers, all of which are edible, but it's advisable not to, as they can contain parasites. So it's always best to cook grasshoppers before we eat them. Now some may turn your nose up and say, oh, I couldn't eat grasshoppers. But they do taste a little bit like a prawn, I would say, and they're not unpleasant at all. And if you're a little bit squeamish, you can just take the legs and so forth off. Me, I just put the whole lot in the pan and get them down me. A lot of the time we may not need to do this, but if we're stuck for food, if we're in a survival situation particularly, but maybe if we've just forgotten our tucker, our food, and we need some protein, or even if we're on a long hike and we need to supplement our food, then grasshoppers are a good source of protein, and they're quite tasty too, believe it or not. So what we'll do now is we're in this meadow on the downs here. We've got long grass all around us. Of course, grasshoppers, crickets love the long grass. It may take a while to gather enough for a decent feed, half hour or so, that's all, but shouldn't take us too long. We'll look around in this long grass and we'll see if we can catch some. What I'm doing is catching these grasshoppers by hand, crickets as well. I'm getting hedge locusts as well. I've had some few nice hedge locusts. Just catching them by hand. It's not that difficult, and I'm just using this dry bag, and basically to dispatch them humanely. Just put the dry bag to your mouth, and all you do is just breathe in and exhale. Breathe in through your nose and exhale into the bag. What you're doing is you're filling up the bag with carbon dioxide then, and that just puts them to sleep humanely. And then they're ready to go into the pan. So we're going to look for a few more. And, can just see how well those hedge locusts are camouflaged, and it's only the fact that when they move, as you can see, if I just make him, they're so camouflaged. But as you can see, a tasty morsel. But we'll leave him alone because we've got plenty now. Well, we've got enough protein now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break the stove out, light the stove. I brought a little pan with me, and cook these up, and we'll see what they taste like. I have eaten them before, and they're not bad at all actually. And as I mentioned a moment ago, just breathe in the carbon dioxide, and it just puts them to sleep gently, and then we can put them in the pan. Now, some may be a little bit squeamish as regards insects, but as I said earlier, they do have an awful lot of protein. In Western lands, they tend not to eat them, although I think the Victorians did back in the day. But places like Thailand and so forth, Asia, they relish insects because they are so full of protein. And I think once you get past the squeamishness, they're not too bad. It's no different to eating a prawn or something like that. If you've not yet done this, guys, why not make it a bushcraft challenge to forage, catch some grasshoppers, crickets, and cook them up and see what you think. Little challenge for you guys. Anyway, let's break out the stove, light it up, get the pan on, and cook these little beauties. Brought a little pan with me. My little pancake pan, great little frying pan that. And just brought a little gas stove with me. Believe it or not, this was going to be thrown away, but I salvaged it. Great little stove. Just going to put a little bit of oil in this pan. Then we just turn those. They don't need long, and they actually do smell really nice. There we go, look at that. Now I haven't caught too many, only a good mouthful, because I have already eaten and I didn't want to take more just for the sake of it. So, but I've got a good mouthful there. And as I said earlier, the reason why we cook these is A, they taste better, and B, any parasites are killed. Now look at that. Don't they look delicious? Go on, you know you want to. They smell really good. And they don't actually take that long to cook. Just turning them over. Make sure they're nice and done proper. The grasshoppers are done. It's these big hedge locusts. They take a little bit of time. There we are, nearly there. And as they say, the proof's in the pudding. Well, there we are, guys. They're ready. So what I'm going to do first is just try one of these grasshoppers first. Not bad at all. Seriously, they are pretty tasty. In actual fact, they're quite moreish. And like I say, if you're out in the field and you need some protein, this time of the year, bit hot. This time of the year, the grasshoppers are pretty good eating. Let's try one of these big crickets. Now you can peel the legs and that off, but I just put the whole lot in. You know, that's really quite good. Yeah, not unpleasant at all. Really tasty, in fact. Yeah, let's pop that one in. There we go. That's a real big one, that one. Let's pop that in. Just to prove that I am. How some of you think I'm just doing it for the camera. Bit of leg there, bit crunchy. But just crunch them up. And seriously, they're not unpleasant. If that was, how can I describe their flavour? I'm not sure really. A little bit meaty, but not unpleasant at all. In actual fact, really quite tasty. No different to a prawn. Lovely in actual fact. Like I said earlier, take the wings off there, they're quite big, those wings. As I said earlier, 6 times the protein of meat, so very, very good for you. And if you're out in the wild, survival, you need protein, and grasshoppers, crickets, excellent source of protein. Well, there we are, guys. I hope you found that helpful. Just another little demonstration of what's out there in the way of foraging and bush tucker. It's out there, it can be utilised, and as I said, it's actually quite tasty. So I appreciate you joining me, folks, and all being well, I'll see you on the next video. So take care out there, and bye for now.